say, that's
like I've been in a cat fight.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing we do is place on gear.
And I told her this is a little gross, but
what were they going
colon
for?
cancer surgeon.
You told me.
They're supposed to go as better.
Out.
Okay, so it's
My
not far.
belly button had gone from sort of small into, you know, this big came up there. This bigger thing was about over here. I thought,
Using Jane Clayton for their hospital?
well, that's kind of weird, but okay, whatever, you know.
Because you know, Cole Electric got
And now after all this, and all the doing the muscles and getting the hernia patch and
They've
all
been
that,
out there, I believe.
my belly button moved back about halfway. I go, well, okay, just find a place.
I thought you were going to move these back.
They used to. I mean, not with-
It wouldn't surprise me, I swear.
MR is not sure.
I hope it all.
And high voltage is what? Anything
I do too. I'm trying to
Well, it's medium.
try to take it easy so I don't undo something.
But we're working on it.
Oh, what is medium? What's the cutoff?
It goes 12.7.
Just can't sit around and do nothing. It just drives me nuts.
41, which is 4160 down there. Well, that's on medium.
But I'm
480.
better
That's
than
not
one.
considered.
788-588-2.
Medium voltage is once you get into the 40s.
And then high voltage?
Oh, it's, I don't know, it's 20 something thousand up, something like that. Medium voltage.
It was a good thing that I came today.
Morning, Dick.
Morning. Do we don't have a quorum though, do we? What? Okay, 5. We can pass this along with no nonsense, right?
Microphones are on.
Good morning, gentlemen.
We're gonna give it 2 more minutes by the official meeting clock.
This is where I'm supposed to be?
We now know who the dedicated members are, don't we?
We're in trouble.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay.
You got a quorum. How are you?
We'll swear Charlie in here in a
Alright.
second. We'll get us a 6 member.
Our Peaky Blinder group is out there, so we got
Home
them
business with the schools, taxes.
Steve's got his white walls on.
Yesterday, last night, I was talking to 100 people about it and everything with Mathiak and Sylvia Hollins, trying to explain it.
Never seen any of that series, the Peaky Blinder.
I watched it about a month ago. I watched the whole thing. It was alright.
Yeah, well, it's so, I always want to take a shower afterwards after. But, I thought it was Pinky Blinders. I thought it was some female thing. I don't know.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regular scheduled October 15th Spalding County Water Authority meeting. A comment from Stephanie.
You're good.
We're going to lead off with our invocation, followed by Jeff Brandon, followed by the pledge to the flag by Mr. Clay Davis.
Gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day, and we thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here and bringing us here safely, Lord. And we ask that you be with those that couldn't be here today and keep them safe. Lord, we ask that your hand be on us as we meet and do the business of the Spalding County Water Authority, and that our decisions be to the benefit of our ratepayers and our community, Lord. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Unanimous. First item is presentations. Airport Overlay Strategic Plan by Dr. Steve Ledbetter.
Good morning. Thank you
morning.
for the opportunity to stand before you this morning and share with you about our Griffin Spalding Regional Airport Area Strategic Plan. Just to give you a little bit of background, about 6 or 8 months ago, we contracted with a group called KB Advisory Group, who is a planning group out of Atlanta that looks specifically at areas like ours, and we asked them one specific question. Can you share with us and provide for us all of the demographic information that we need and put a strategic plan together for how we should move forward with our new regional airport coming into the county? Excuse me. So over that time period, they have met with a stakeholder group that Chairman Davis with the Board of Commissioners put together. And there were about 23 of us who have been meeting over the course of the last 6 months, providing information, input, and then listening back to their draft report that I want to share with you the overview of that report. I believe we provided that for each of you over the weekend for through Granicus through the agenda packet. But I wanted to provide for you an overview of what this report looks like and give you an update. When we first contracted with the company, we were asking them for a review of an area that is 1 mile and then 3 miles from the dead center point of the runway. They have since come back and extended just a bit, not a lot, but just a bit from the runway to the county line on Arthur K. Bolton Boulevard. And the reason they did that is because there is so much information that I'm sure you've read in the packet that indicates that being close proximity to a regional airport and an interstate actually increases the amount of development that occurs within a community. So as we walked through this journey this morning, I just want to highlight some of the things that this group shared with us. So, yay, it works. So the new regional airport is a generational investment. And I think we've recognized that over the course of the last, Dick, how many years have we been working this?
106.
It's been a few years, yes it has. But these are not my words that I put in. This is actually a quote that comes directly from the material that was provided from KB Advisory Group, Jeff Koski to be precise. He indicates that this is a generational investment. And we recognize that because the state of Georgia has provided $47.2 million through the governor's office with the support and help of the lieutenant governor and our local delegation. So kudos to every one of them. And the FAA has also invested $40 million. Drew Ferguson invested just before he left office another $8 million for an earmark for the airport. So to include the roughly $12 million that the county and the city have invested, this airport will actually be constructed with about $100 million worth of funds. What an amazing opportunity this will create. It's a 5,500 foot in length, could be extended to 6,000 foot runway that's currently designed at 75 feet, could be moved out to 100. That's quite a large airport. In fact, you could land, I would dare venture, anything that Atlanta Hartsfield could land, you could land at ours if it extends out to 6,000 feet. So a fairly large investment. What does that mean for us locally? It means that through this generational investment that we will now be able to house corporate jets on our site. So the way that we do that is at a 5,500 foot length, corporate jets now are able to obtain the insurance to house locally. Where previously at our old airport, they could not house here locally because their insurance would not afford them to house at an airport that was less than 5,500 feet or 5,000. This is actually wonderful. In fact, my wife and I were traveling last week, went past the Atlanta airport, and November 157 Charlie Tango, which is owned by Caterpillar, was leaving Hartsfield. And my exact comment to her was, let's hurry up and get this airport here because then they can land in Griffin, and that would be an amazing opportunity since Caterpillar is located here at our industrial development properties. Realizing this potential requires intentional planning, and that's one of the main reasons why I'm here this morning, is to share with you about the plan that we have in place and what's going on and how collectively we can partner with each other from a county's perspective and the water authority's perspective in order to move our community forward. The end goal for that is first and foremost to reduce taxes for those of us who live inside this county as residents. That's my primary responsibility. That's been my mandate from our Board of Commissioners. And to that end, we need to ensure that we're planning and partnering how we're going to move together in the future. So the report that I provided for you indicated that there was 3.1 million square feet of industrial flex space that would be developed between now and 2045. 64,000 to 78,000 square feet of new retail space, an additional 180 beds for hotel space that would be required moving forward, and then 900 additional housing units over and above what has already been approved by the Board of Commissioners. They indicate that this success hinges on the airport's decision makers, county staff, business community, and developers as we strategically plan this opportunity. I want to pin this in the parking lot for a minute because I want to show you something that has changed just in the last, 6 months since KB Advisory Group has actually started this program. So here is a map that indicates where all of our development has occurred over the course of the last 100 years, from up to 1930, and you can see those properties in red, all the way to the dark green, which is 2001 to present. The majority of those properties that have developed have been in the city of Griffin or very close proximity, and over in our development authority. There's our new airport, and there is the highlight for where this strategic plan is focused its work. So all the way out AKB and 1 mile north and south of the AKB corridor, which actually is, it seems like a lot, but with all that we have going on in our community, it's not. And let me show you why. So over the course of the last 6 months, we have on our plates and the Community Development Office about 6.5 million square feet of space just along the AKB corridor. And I'll give you just a second to review this slide. The space that you see listed does not include the new regional airport. So even more space is coming, and the development opportunities that we have along the AKB corridor are growing daily. Here is a representation thanks to our great GIS department, Chris and his team. They do an amazing job for us. This is where those 6 million square feet are currently located. With that said, without basic infrastructure in place, a viable development opportunity is not going to happen. And I want to give kudos to this board because bullet point number 1 is checked. With the development of the sewer plant and Joseph and his great team bringing that system on board next year, that is the catalyst that has actually moved us forward in our development plans. Some of the other things that I would ask you to consider is that the regional airport area should focus on attracting job generation, using such things as industrial, logistics, and aviation supported businesses, but we should move beyond that. I think there is an opportunity for us to also include retail space, which includes hotels and restaurants for the area that's located closer to the interstate. I've been in discussion with several of the developers who are currently working within our community, and they are actively pursuing those opportunities. I've had that conversation with Mr. Johnson and shared with him that there is an opportunity for us to actually move quicker now that we have sewer availability options toward putting a retail space closer to the interstate. I have a little bit of an analog that I use with that. There's no reasons why we should not take advantage of those who pass by our community out on I-75 and engage them in spending money inside of this county. And if we do that correctly and with good development management practices, we have an opportunity to continue my first rule of discussion with my Board of Commissioners, which is reducing taxes for our residents. The next point is the county must stage, fund, and construct along AKB corridor in a way that signals readiness and reduces developer risk. I think we are in the process of doing that, specifically working with Georgia Department of Transportation and the access roads that are along the AKB corridor. We have another discussion with GDOT on Monday to do just that. We're working with them to ensure that this board does not have to expend an extensive amount of money for right-of-way acquisition, because one of the things that I've shared with Joseph is I would rather GDOT and the county support the right-of-way construction without spending money from this board and putting it on the backs of our ratepayers. The next point is to accelerate growth and support catalytic development near the airport. Spalding County should implement a tiered infrastructure investment. This one too, I believe, is checked because you are working through a tiered approach. You have phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 for where you will develop, and working closely with staff and the Spalding County Water Authority staff. We are making sure that we're highlighting those phases along the corridor so that we can move forward at the right time with our developers. So I am very thankful, and I want to give Joseph and his team and our staff kudos for the way that they work together and the way that they move our community forward. The last thing that I would like to share with you is the information that was provided by KB Advisory Group with respect to the 4 areas of consideration: retail, industrial flex, hospitality, and residential. We do recognize that a sewer facility cannot sustain itself with warehouse after warehouse because the effluent just doesn't flow. No pun intended. There is an opportunity for residential locations. And to that end, the material that we shared with you over the weekend from KB and Associates indicates that there is a need, a desperate need within our community for an additional 6,000 housing units across the county in support of our workforce. They're not indicating that we should build housing that is substandard. That was never their intent, nor was that the information they shared. What they did share was that there is a tiered approach moving into our community for workforce housing development. The information that was shared through the document indicated that for those coming into the workforce, new firefighters, new deputies, new nurses, new teachers, as they come into the workforce at roughly $55,000 to $60,000, their housing purchase ability is between $171,000 and $280,000 per year. If you notice the slide in the bottom left-hand corner, the average home price for Spalding County is in the $360,000 range. So we are missing one component of bringing new hired individuals into our community. Why is that important? That's important because as we bring all of these jobs into our community, one of the things that I am concerned about is that we leak all of these payroll checks straight out of our county into other counties. It would be great if we could put the right housing units at the right place for the right reason, which is to feed all of these employment areas that we're bringing in. So with that in mind, I would encourage us to continue to consider how we mesh these two together, the residential and the employment corridor, in order to satisfy the requirements not only from the Spalding County Water Authority, but also for the county's perspective. All right. That is my update to you about what's going on in and around our airport, and I would entertain any questions at this time that you may have.
I got a couple of questions, Steve. Thank you. Appreciate that. This is exciting to happen. First question, why not go ahead and extend the runway to 6,000 feet now? I mean, now's the time to do it.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Unfortunately, I am just one member on the Regional Airport Authority Board, and I don't have that ability to answer. I would encourage you to have a conversation with Dr. Randy Peters, because I believe he is of the same mindset. But there are limits that require us to stay at 5,500 feet based on what the FAA approves.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, the FAA has said specifically no to funding that additional length of runway. And at this point, we don't have the approval nor the money to do that.
There's a good reason for it, so I may answer that. By the way, I started this thing 25 years ago. At 5,500 feet, all domestic business jets can use that.
That's correct.
They do not need 6,000 feet. All of them have legal operating insurance and so on at 5,500 feet. The 6,000 feet takes you to the new international business jet. Some of them can't, for insurance and other purposes, can't do it in 55. So that's an international length. We're not going to have international flights out of here because you have to staff it with the feds and all their paraphernalia for international flights. So they're not interested in paying for an international length runway when you don't have international flights, because you got to duplicate all of the immigration and
Yeah, TSA has to be on site.
all that stuff. That's the answer.
That answers that question. Thank you. Second question, are all the current tenants at the airport now committed to moving to the new airport?
We are not currently negotiating with tenants on whether or not they will move. The general consensus is that at least 90% of them are intending to move to the new airport. But right now, we're in phase 2 property acquisition, and so everything is being done in phases. So we have not sought commitments from tenants at this point, not anything firm.
Certainly be nice if they all decided to all would move. You got a base to start with. Last and final question, workforce housing. Is there consideration, talk, or back of the napkin ideas of workforce housing now out of AKB since the sewer system's gonna be out there?
Yes, sir, there is. In fact, that's one of the conversations that I've had with one of the developers to develop a piece of property specifically for workforce housing, and we have also been in conversation with the Development Authority for development of the property that was designated as workforce housing inside of the lakes at Green Valley.
Do I assume those would be apartments?
No,
No.
please don't assume that.
I would prefer not to assume that. Thank you.
You know, I make a comment, but back when all this got started, by me actually, all I heard was no stupid airport for rich pilots and their toys. It costs us too much, you guys and your toys. No one seemed to understand the economic impact of an airport. I went to Peachtree to CAB and did a deep dive with the manager there to try to Pat this. Peachtree DeKalb turned over 4 million, now this is 20-some years ago. Peachtree DeKalb turned over $4 million a year just as sort of a gift to DeKalb County. But that wasn't the real money. The property, the ad valorem taxes on all those airplanes, people do not understand that airplanes pay ad valorem just like houses, and there aren't many 10 and 15 and $20 million houses and buildings sitting around Spalding County. The airplane property tax, ad valorem tax was huge. I don't have the number anymore. And of course, all the buildings that they were doing, it was a gold mine for DeKalb County, and no one seemed to understand that. This sort of says that in a different way, but this is a nice presentation.
Thank you, sir. And I agree with you. I think the opportunity for ad valorem taxes coming out of the airport will far exceed the investment that was ever made. But it also affords us the opportunity to continue to build and develop those areas along AKB, which is our employment corridor, with very large, well-known companies, because they will have access to corporate jets, but also to logistics as well.
And you know, the county was wide open site for this airport. GDOT and FAA pitched everything east of that. They wanted it out by 75, which eliminated a lot of good sites, but I realized quickly that having it close to 75 was a lot more important.
That's actually one of the things that Jeff Koski highlighted in his presentation, is that airports that are 7 miles or further away from the interstate, actually, he showed a degradation in the amount of revenue that they would generate. And we posed the question: tell us how well Falcon Field over in Peachtree City is doing, because they are much farther away than 7 miles from the interstate. And when he went back and re-examined his numbers, he came back with a different perspective. He was like, "You're absolutely right." He said, "You're sitting on a gold mine because you are closer to the interstate than Falcon Field, and you were on Highway 16, which is a pass-through between 75 and 85, which creates some logistics opportunities that otherwise Falcon Field does not have."
And that location also made it prime for us to be deemed a regional airport, which that designation is what ensured the $47 million from the state.
Well, the whole without the coverage included Butts County over there, so that also put us closer to the center of the donut, if you will.
Right.
But it was a great choice, and we were a little flummoxed when they gave us those set parameters, changed them, but obviously they knew what they were doing.
Mr. Chairman, Joseph, thank you so much for the opportunity to share today.
How much taxes do y'all currently collect from the current airport? Like personal property taxes and stuff?
And I don't have that readily available. I could get that information for you, but I don't have it readily available.
Please.
All right.
Just curiosity.
We always had that, and the current airport basically was a break-even job, because these small little airplanes are not where the money is.
I know a jet and a prop's two different things. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I don't have the number anymore, but
I don't
Joseph,
think.
a question for you and Steve as well. Looking at this overlay, does this speed up our section of piping to connecting the lakes, phase 2?
I would say, depending on how fast the county can move getting those access roads, possibly. In the planning meeting in November, I was actually going to bring in front of the board a potential contract that can be signed with private developers that have authorized or want to work with us to start acquiring the easements from South McDonough Road all the way to High Falls Industrial to obtain those off-site easements. I would say, if the water authority is not going to pay for those and we will get outside money to pay for those, I say we go ahead and do this in lieu of the county not having those access roads today.
I agree.
You not having access or a meeting with planning and zoning and all those people, do you see a need for that happening quicker than not, sooner than later?
I believe, I'm like Joseph, I believe that if the developer is going to provide those easements to the water authority and you agree to accept those, that is the right thing to do because it takes it out of the right of way. So anytime that that the road has to be extended and you own that easement, that's the best opportunity for you.
That's what our intent is.
I'm sorry.
Our intent is developers gonna give us the easement if they want their property served.
That's correct.
What did we estimate the cost of that is, Joseph?
What? The,
That phase two going to Green Lakes or going to the lakes, Green Valley?
what, to get this, to get the,
Talking about P and K?
the P and K,
Well,
that
no, I'm talking
development?
about going from High Falls to the Lakes Valley Phase Two of our sewer extension.
The feasibility study showed it was roughly 3 to 5 million, cause it's a lift station, a force main, and some gravity outfall.
And there was a force main.
Yes, sir.
Steve, may I ask
Well,
one
that's what P
question?
and K
Of course.
is putting in, correct?
They're working.
You started off with this
We
group
need to clarify that real quick.
and the study and the stakeholders. Was the city part of this or was the county only? Or was this
No,
a joint?
this was 23 people that included Mayor Holberg.
Okay,
Um,
so it was a joint effort, basically.
It was a joint effort,
Okay, great.
yes.
And,
Cal, your
Still
question?
is.
And
Still
to
is.
And to clarify, so we spoke with P and K on last Friday, if I'm not mistaken. They're wanting to talk about building two. We told them building one and building two would go to that lift station and then use that force main that would pump to the High Falls Industrial. So we are working with them now to get that lift station designed, built. We would not pay for that lift station construction. It would be part of the
Their
P and K
development.
building one. The lift station would
P
be,
and K knows that.
oh yeah, we were very
No, we're doing
clear.
that to everybody. It's their development.
The lift station will be sized for the entire drainage basin, including East Griffin. So we're
They
gonna.
don't have to put up a lot of money up front.
Well, so one of the property owners owns the adjacent parcel on South McDonough, across the street from P and K. He's the one that, or they're the ones that want to have us acquire the easements where they could go in and install the force main today and be ready for that lift station to be built. So it's in their best interest to get that done. But we told them, we understand, we're not gonna make you put in the future pumps, but the lift station itself will be sized for the ultimate basin. And they understand that.
So that section's gonna happen sooner than.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
At this point, those are the projects that potentially could hit our plant before High Falls Industrial.
Yeah, we'll have the south side of the south side of 16 covered.
Within the next 18 months.
Yeah, from one end to the other.
The next 18 months.
I would say so, yes. So in November, what I will do is I'm gonna be reaching out to the other development group with the generic contract that we currently have working with the High Falls Industrial site, and get their comments on it and hopefully approve that in November, where we can start using our land acquisition team and the same team that was associated with our easements along the sewer plan, the sewer gravity. We're gonna have them engaged.
If this happens, aren't we gonna have to put in a bigger water main?
Right now, no, because we have, South McDonough has a water main that crosses 16. We don't have any water main parallel to 16 until you get to High Falls. But right now, everything can be served off the existing infrastructure. It's, if you want to go past High Falls and you want to continue growth from High Falls Industrial Park to Bailey Jester, to the county line, there's no water there.
Which is the plan.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's also gonna be on the developers, it's the developer's responsibility to extend it.
Right now, it'd be my recommendation that if a water main is put out there, it would not need to be the size that it ultimately needs to in order to support possibly a future connection with Butts County. You don't want an underground water tank.
Yeah.
And we're currently working through a water quality study internally to understand how the chlorine and the water ages, how it's kind of, how the water flows from the treatment plants to the peripheral of our system. We have some dead zones and we're trying to fix those. So this would only exacerbate that problem.
I asked Steve one last question, unless I think of another one. When we negotiated the MOU between the city and the county, they agreed to annex at the time because they had the sewer capability. That has changed. Now we have a sewer capability. They have limited capacity.
Have a
Has there been-
$40 million project in order to treat that plant. We can do it a lot cheaper. So what
Yeah.
we're trying to ask for, we
Have-
need the
has there been
service area
any-
back.
Government discussion about how things have changed?
So the short answer to that question is the city is still of the opinion that the airport proper will be inside of the city limits of Griffin, and anything outside the fence will be county.
We don't care about the annexation. We just want to serve it.
Correct. I hear that, and I would encourage you to continue through, Joseph, to have those conversations for service delivery.
We've had some private discussions here. Okay, I understand the task. Got it.
There's a wall in our way. We need to go through it.
Very nice job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Steve. Moving on, citizen comments. Shocking. Minutes, consider approval of the September, why can I not read this? Hang on. September 17th, 2025, regular scheduled meeting minutes.
Chairman, if no one has any additions or corrections, I move they be approved.
Second. We got a motion, by Mr. Morrow, a second by Mr. Davis. Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Unanimous? 5-0. Item 2, consider acceptance of the following committee meeting minutes, October 1st, planning.
Mr. Chairman, I move we accept both
No, I'm
committee
sorry,
meetings.
let me finish reading that. October 1st, 2025, planning committee. October 8th, 2025, finance committee. I got sidetracked, sorry.
Okay, I move that we accept both these committee meetings minutes.
Motion by Mr. Morrow. And a second by Jeff. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, 5-0 unanimous. Moving on to the general manager's report. Consider acceptance of general manager report as presented by General Manager Johnson.
So the authority trends, everything is what we kind of expected. Moving on to the deep dive into just system metrics. The water sales are down roughly 21 million fiscal year to date, and that's from the really wet July month. It looks like we're starting to gain back traction. Our meter sales have ticked back up, so we're exactly where we thought we would be at this point. Our active meters, we're still holding steady at a 1.1 year-over-year growth. And obviously the broken pipe number is down, but the volume, we have surpassed the volume using the same period last year. Our top 10 customers are still, there's a good mix between commercial, residential, and institutional, so that's good from the our bond ratepayers. And then, as you can see, that we're still holding strong at 97% residential customer base. So we're trying to move that needle.
It'll move shortly.
Going into the projects, we have officially closed the last easement necessary for line A of our sewer gravity system. So that was great. We closed on October 3rd. The current GMP construction activities, the lift station site has been completely cleared. Now they are moving along the sewer main to the Cabin Creek crossing, and I saw where the contractor has requested a detailed schematic for that bore pit, so gravity lines will be going in soon. And
Have they run into any rock? to your
not,
knowledge?
we won't know. They really haven't, they're just clearing the easement right now. They actually haven't put
Haven't
a bucket.
started digging yet.
No, no. So what I anticipate the construction activities is now that the lift station site is cleared, I have a feeling Lake Shore is probably gonna mobilize and start building the wet well. Then by the time that the wet well is done, the entire easement all the way up to, the bridge at 16 and Cabin Creek tributary, that will be completed where when the lift station's in, now they can start laying some pipe and get under the creek to the first manhole. Given an update on the lead and copper rule compliance, our team has been able to reduce the total number of unknowns to 35%, so we are tracking well. And all the customer notifications will go out by the deadline of June 30th of 2026. So we've worked with the city, and what we intend to do is, obviously, we're gonna work with them because they have the contracts for Datamatics and the notification process, but we will engage them first part of probably January, February to work through that notification process. And then the water system feasibility update, the approval, the TOF was sent to Garver on the 17th of September, and we're waiting on workshop one, date to be determined, and we will engage the board accordingly. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I move we accept the manager report.
I got a motion to accept the general manager's report. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Davis. No further discussion. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, motion carries 5-0. Special committee report. First, we're gonna lead off with the planning committee. Dick, you was not here, so.
I wish I had been.
October 1st, 2025, we held the planning committee meeting. We discussed the capacity fee assessment policy for spec buildings. Joseph is working with our conflict attorney to draft a policy. Water system maintenance and operation, Public Works contacted our office with concerns that delays and leak repairs may be contributing to the deterioration of county roads. And I believe we are working on that too,
That's
correct?
right. That's correct.
A work order system or something. Amendment to enabling legislation, Ms. Wyndham provided a PowerPoint outlining, I think everybody has seen it now. Proposed changes and informed the committee that the board will need to vote on this amendment at the next meeting, which I think is today. Some members expressed concerns that the current 6-year term may be too long and asked Ms. Wyndham to look into the option of reducing terms to 4 years, beginning after the current terms expire, and I think both meetings were in general agreement with that too. That's the summary.
Well, the financial committee worked on the same issues, but what Joseph has discovered, maybe not new, but realized that Public Works has been a problem because of the city sometime delayed water leak repair, undercutting roads. So if they don't do the job soon, it undercuts the county roads, and there's been some issues with that. So, Mr. Johnson's working with GIS and has been working with the city to get into their work order system and track all the repairs and protect county roads. And then the same thing, Stephanie provided the committee with the enabling legislation updates, and today we have the final
A clean
amendments.
version.
That's a good word. And the last thing,
Whereas is,
Lots of them. I lost count.
and the final thing we talked about is, as our staff starts to update the accounting system with our own accounts, using our own tax ID number, he had to reach out to Greg Heck for assistance, clear some of the legal and procedural changes, and so it's all been nice work with the county finance chair sitting back there quietly, but there is some issues to resolve so you don't get any troubles out of it. So we went through all that. That's proceeding nicely, or at least legally, if not nicely. That's the
Any
report.
question for the, meetings that we all attended? Moving on to new, except for, I think Clay was out actually. New business, consider approval of the amendment to the Spalding County Water Authority enabling legislation as presented by Authority Attorney Stephanie Wyndham. Is Miss Wyndham here today?
She is.
Okay.
I do believe that most of you have seen this. In fact, probably, Clay, you may be the only one that hasn't, but, there are a few changes and we'll go through them very quickly. So the overview kind of covers most of it. We're providing some regulatory and operational powers that, we were not given in the enabling legislation or any of its amendments. Enhancing the financial mechanisms for funding the infrastructure and providing, this may be, most important, enforcement capabilities so that we can actually enforce the rules that we're putting in place and ensure compliance with those rules and provide a broader, more expansive authority to manage our water and sewer systems, and then a few organizational changes which include governance and staffing. So to go through those regulatory, the overarching thing is that the current legislation does not provide us with the authority to actually enforce any ordinances or standards or rules or regulations. So we have no teeth, and we need that. So basically, this makes those changes, and it also gives us the authority to do things that you think we might already have the authority to do, such as refuse or discontinue services, or lien property, or actually make people stop doing what they're doing if they're doing something bad. And we don't have that authority now, but we do need it. Financially, it expands our right to collect rates and fees. We do not and will not have the authority to levy up to any sort of millage rate to support water sewer operations and bonds, and that is because that is currently a violation of the Georgia Constitution. There has to be a referendum. Henry County had that referendum, and its citizens voted to approve a millage rate for water and sewer many years ago, and they are currently levying a 2 mil tax for water and sewer in Henry County. The change to the legislation allows us to do that if that constitutional amendment is ever passed in Spalding County. So we're thinking ahead so that we don't have to come back and amend over and over again. As far as enforcement goes, it gives us the right to do things that, again, you might think we already have the right to do, which is issue stop work orders, levy fines, actually seek injunctive relief in court against people that violate the rules, and impose civil penalties, and then actually recover those costs to include liening properties. And then other changes, the Wade Cannon name change so that we will be the Spalding County Water Authority.
One door.
It does provide for compensation for this board within the parameters that that y'all had requested at our last regular meeting of the authority. It includes a residency requirement because, funnily enough, there's no requirement that the members of this authority actually be residents of Spalding County. So it does specifically state that. And as far as appointments of the members of the VOC, while we changed the term to 4 years from 6, it allows the one member of the BOC to be appointed for an actual term of that 4 years. The 9th member will be the liaison, which is the chair or the chair designee, and that is reappointed by the Board of Commissioners every year. It limits the appointment of members of the Board of Commissioners to 2, so that there's no chance of the Board of Commissioners ever stacking this board. And that's the end.
Chairman, I move we approve these amendments be forwarded on to the state legislature.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Oxford. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Motion carries unanimous, 5-0.
Just a quick question, Stephanie, and you've already done it. Suppose we get to the point where we're a regional water authority, would you change the residence requirement then?
If there's a regional water authority, that will require completely new legislation establishing that regional authority. So, there would be different residency requirements, of course, in that situation.
So they'd be totally different
It's a
legislation.
totally different, it would be a totally different set of enabling legislation.
Would you really need that? Because this would give us the ability to operate inside and outside the boundaries of Spalding County, so do you need more legislation?
Only if you decide to become a true regional authority, and then that's something that would be required to establish that regional authority.
What's the difference?
But you do have the right,
We
under
can
this
run lines
legislation to
across the
operate
county line
outside.
as we are without being a regional authority.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
this we can do it.
But like
This
you
gives
say,
us the opportunity. I mean, what
know,
is
To
the
you
difference?
can operate regionally without having a regional authority
Regional authority gives you the opportunity to share resources.
with other jurisdictions,
you're looking
yes.
ahead 100 years.
Well, this does that now.
Couldn't that be accomplished?
That's what I'm saying. This does that now.
But we don't share water.
Oh, it can certainly
You
be
might wanna
accomplished with
join-
those.
It gives you the option.
You might want to join Henry County Water Authority and Butts County into a regional authority. That's what
Well,
this
that'd
is.
be different.
That's a regional authority.
Yeah, that's a regional
That-
authority. That's what we're talking about when we
that's what
say
we're talking
regional authority.
We're not
Okay.
talking about
Not-
operating regionally. We're
Yeah,
talking
not
about a regional authority.
servicing
Okay, all right.
outside
I
of our.
misunderstood. I got you.
And also, if we were to ever decide to become a joint authority with the city of Griffin, that would also require new legislation.
If we hire academia, we can pretty much do whatever we want to do.
What if we wanted to just, what if we wanted to just, for lack of a better word, buy the city's water system? Does that require it doesn't require
No,
different
that would just require a sales
Put up
contract.
money.
I think we ought to join Clayton County. That'd make interesting meetings.
Ooh, wow.
All right, moving on. I'm sorry.
I think ours are interesting enough, but thank you.
It's actually a very professional group of people. It is.
All
Any
right.
other discussion? All right, moving on. Other business. The next regular meeting will be held on Wednesday, November 19th, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. in the courthouse annex meeting room. Are you gonna be here?
I will,
Okay, you're gonna
unless you know something I don't.
you're gonna be the chairman then, because I
All
will
right.
not. I will not be
Thank
at that
goodness.
meeting.
Well, you can look forward to the next meeting. We'll have it rolling.
I will be on vacation that week.
All right.
That is the week before Thanksgiving, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I'll be on vacation that week.
Oh, good.
Moving on, Secretary Treasurer comments?
None.
Really?
Yep.
General Manager comments?
I do.
Oh. This
So-
guy.
I just want to highlight, the Spalding County GIS Department has, worked on a GIS Day presentation that they are going to, be presenting at the, Senior Center on Monday, November 17th, between the hours of 11 and 2. If you are available to drop in, just to see exactly what they do, how they do it, and the different tools and, that we have at our disposal,
What day is it?
please do. A couple of, do what?
What day is it?
It's Monday, November 17th.
I'm on vacation, I'm sorry.
And just to,
Is it all day
no, it's from 11 to 2. It's just drop in,
here?
at the senior center.
11
As you
to
walk in, it's gonna be in the banquet hall.
Thank you.
And just to give you a little high level of what you could expect to see is, it's gonna provide a high level introduction to GIS and the different applications that it can be used for. It will showcase how we use it for, improved decision making, stuff like that. So you'll get to see a lot of the cool apps and tricks that they do behind the veil. So we're gonna provide this
You know, how the
information to the
entire senior center is so confused, they won't know how to find lunch.
We're gonna provide this information to the county, so, they'll get it out on their social media as well. But I hope everybody can drop in at some point during that, time slot.
All right.
Man, those are some mean people up there.
Well, we have a
Give
good,
everybody a map of how to get to their home.
Authority member comments?
I've overdone mine.
I ain't gonna screw this up then. I'm gonna consider a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, please raise your hand. We are adjourned.
Less than an hour. Ooh.
As always, Mr. Chairman, nice job.
Yeah, we actually got through it, and I don't think we blew anything up.